Today, we're diving into a story of a betrayal so deep it could only end in murder. It's a story about a marriage falling apart, a secret affair, and one single, chilling object that became a tomb: the Blue Drum betrayal. So at the very heart of the story, you have Muskin, a wife who, according to police, would become the mastermind of a truly brutal crime.
But, she wasn't acting alone. Her secret lover, a man named Sahil, enters the picture, and together, their affair allegedly twisted into a deadly conspiracy.
And then there's this one haunting object that became the silent witness to everything: a simple, ordinary blue plastic drum. To really understand the crime, you have to understand the relationship that came before it. This story really kicks off in Meerut, India, not with a bang, but with the slow, quiet decay of a marriage.
Okay, so there are three people at the center of this whole tragedy. First, you've got Saurabh Rajput, the husband. Then, his wife, Muskan Rastogi, and finally, Sahil, the man who became her lover. Their lives were about to get tangled up in the most violent way imaginable.
Look, Saurabh and Muskan's marriage, it started out with hope, like most do. But things were deteriorating, and fast. A huge gap was growing between them, a void that would soon be filled with deception and, eventually, murder.
It was right in the middle of all this marital trouble that Muskan started an affair with Sahil, and what began as just a secret romance quickly spiraled. It became the very catalyst for a deadly plan.
So you have to ask, what was the motive? Why go this far? Well, according to prosecutors, it was brutally simple. Muskan wanted a new life with Sahil, and her husband Saurabh was the only thing standing in her way. The affair just wasn't enough. He had to be gone, for good.
And this is where it gets really chilling. According to the police investigation, Muskin and Sahil began to meticulously plan how to get rid of Saurabh. Their goal wasn't just to kill him, it was to completely erase him, to make him vanish as if he never existed.
And that brings us to the crime itself. The violence was just horrifying, but the cover-up that came after, it was disturbing on a whole other level for its cold, calculated precision.
Just look at the steps here. This wasn't some act of passion that got out of hand. This was a process. From murder in his own home, to dismemberment, to hiding the remains in that blue drum, and then finally entombing him in cement.
I mean, the logic behind using cement is just bone-chilling. It was a very specific choice, designed to seal the evidence away forever, to stop any smell from alerting anyone, and to literally erase a human being from existence.
And for a little while, it seemed like their gruesome plan had actually worked. Saurabh was gone. But you can't keep a secret that dark forever. And a missing person report filed by his family was the first thread that would unravel the whole thing.
The police closed in, and they closed in fast. Once Saurabh's family filed that report, the clock started ticking. Investigators immediately brought Muskan in for questioning, and her story just started to crumble. There were too many inconsistencies. And within a single week, the truth was out, and both Muskan and Sahil were arrested. And just like that, the so-called perfect crime completely disintegrated under police pressure. The plan that they thought was so foolproof, well, it led them both straight to a jail cell.
So, with the suspects behind bars, you'd think the case was closed, right? The country thought so too. But this story, it had one last, absolutely shocking twist that nobody saw coming.
The legal case was moving forward. But while Muskin was in jail, the story took a turn that would complicate everything in this deeply personal and, controversial way.
While she was in jail, waiting for her trial, it was discovered that Muskin was pregnant. She later gave birth to a baby girl, a new life brought into the world in the shadow of a life that was so violently taken away.
This quote really just captures the heart of the tragedy, doesn't it? A relationship built on trust, completely destroyed by betrayal. A wife who turned against her husband. And a blue drum, just a mundane object, now forever a symbol of a horrifying crime.
This case is a story of total destruction, but it's also about a new beginning under the darkest possible circumstances. It really leaves us with a tough question. When a crime not only takes one life, but also creates another, what does justice for everyone involved even look like?